I don't like personal income tax. I don't agree with it, and I think it should be abolished. Now, what I'd like to replace it with has its own set of problems, because if you get rid of income tax, personal income tax, it's got to be replaced with something. That revenue stream has to be made up. You can expect the government to cut back on some things that it really doesn't need, that they waste our tax dollars on, and that could fill in the gap there if income tax disappeared. But it won't replace it completely. So why do I strongly disagree with income tax? Why do I want to see it abolished? Well, the first thing is that income tax, in my opinion, stifles economic stability and economic growth. More or less, the more money they take from you on payday, the less money you have to spend. If they free up that money, the only deductions coming out of your check is any sort of retirement that you sign up for, any sort of benefits that you choose or don't choose to have removed from your check. No longer is it the government saying you can have it come out of your check or we'll come get it at the end of the year. One way or the other, you're paying. If that money was freed up, more money would be infused into the economy. And if more money is infused into the economy, you're going to see the economy maintain itself for longer periods of time between recessions and depressions, because there's no way to avoid those completely. But I believe the good times would last longer, and you would see economic growth to some extent, because when people have more of their money to spend, most of us will spend it. Yes, there are those that pack away every dime and die wealthy, and the people who inherit it just fight over it, and in the end the lawyers and the courts and whatnot, they get most of it, which is dumb, but that's for a separate video. Regardless, that's my opinion, is that it would help more than it would hurt to get rid of personal income tax. The next reason is that I believe personal income tax promotes laziness and penalizes ambition. And that's not the American way. That's not the America that I grew up in. That's not the America that I serve to protect. That's not the America I want my children to grow up and live in, my grandchildren to live in. That's just not an American value. If you work hard, if you sacrifice, if you make good choices, if you're patient and you adapt, then you can succeed. You can get promoted at work. You can start your small business up from nothing to a giant corporation. You can make a lot of money, but it takes a lot of ambition and dedication. It really does. And when you do those sorts of things, you tend to pay a lot more in taxes than some deadbeat sitting on the couch collecting government assistance. How exactly can somebody who doesn't get taxed, they don't pay any income tax on government assistance, but yet at the end of the year, they get a tax return? How is that? It happens. It happens. And there are people that are on government assistance because they paid into it. I understand that. And there are people that are on government assistance because they're in a predicament. I understand that too. But those are supposed to be temporary types of conditions. Eventually, you're going to die and stop collecting your Social Security. You should only be on government assistance for the shortest amount of time possible to help you through that tough time and get back on your feet as quickly as possible. Not try to find a way to abuse the system to have those benefits for life and to teach your children how to have those benefits for life, etc., etc. But when you're on Social Security longer than you pay into it and collect more than you paid into it, or when you're on government assistance longer than a short interim amount of time between jobs or when the economy gets better or something like that, there's a problem there. But yet those people don't pay taxes, which I'll get to at the end of the video, yet they still reap a reward. And even if you look at the people who don't pay a lot in taxes, people that work the minimum wage jobs, people who don't work 40 hours a week, things like that, they still don't pay a lot in taxes. And to some extent, it's encouraging people to get these dead-end jobs, or encouraging people to turn down overtime and double time and things like that. Hard work never hurt anyone, and hard work is what built this country, and it's part of what makes this country great. And to penalize somebody for ambition and hard work, and to reward somebody for laziness and entitlement, just doesn't fly. It just doesn't. I don't even see how that helps our country in any way. It really doesn't. Then, lastly, there are exemptions. The only person that I think should be exempt from paying taxes is somebody who wins the Congressional Medal of Honor, because that is one of the things you get if you win that medal. Now, full disclosure, most people who win the CMH win it posthumously. So maybe their spouse gets to collect on that. Maybe their spouse, I don't know. But regardless, not a lot of people would fit into that exemption. Here's the deal. I think everybody should pay income tax across the board. Period. Your pension, your investments, your Social Security, your welfare, your unemployment, I don't give a damn what it is. You should pay income tax on everything, or nobody should pay income tax. It's one or the other. You see, this country was founded on taxation, no taxation without representation. Well, let's flip it around. No representation without taxation. If you don't pay personal income tax, I don't think you should be allowed to vote. And the reason why is because some of the candidates have a history of voting for tax increases. And when you're making an informed decision on who to re-elect, you can look at things like that. Or some of the candidates promise to raise taxes, yet people still vote for them. Well, who are these people that vote for them? These are the people that are exempt from those taxes. They have no skin in the game. Why do they get to decide to raise my taxes while they're still exempt? Oh no, that is not an American value. That is not right. If I have to pay taxes, you have to pay taxes. Why should a woman who gets awarded child support be able to use that child support as income when applying for credit, but doesn't have to pay income taxes on the child support? Why does a man paying the child support to her have to pay income taxes on that, even though 60% of his paycheck goes to her? That isn't right. Why shouldn't you pay income taxes on your pension or Social Security or welfare? When I was on unemployment, I didn't want to be on unemployment. Unfortunately, I had my arm put behind my back and I had to be on unemployment. I would have much rather worked. And when I was on unemployment, I had to pay income tax on that. So why does somebody who gets food stamps or welfare or any of these other government programs, why do they get out of paying income tax on that? That's bullshit. If I have to pay it on unemployment, which by the way is much less than my regular salary, then they should have to pay it on this other form of government assistance. It is not right. So, these are the reasons why I don't agree with income tax. I want to see it go away, and I know it's just probably never going to happen, but my go-to is to replace it with a national sales tax and a sales tax on everything, on goods, not services necessarily, but goods. And it's at all levels. And I understand increasing sales tax means that the items would cost more, or that some of these companies that are tax exempt would have to pay taxes on goods. However, I do believe that it would be more difficult to get out of paying your fair share in taxes, and now the choice is yours. The choice is yours to buy that more expensive item knowing that you're going to pay more in taxes, whereas the other person can choose to buy the less expensive item and pay less in taxes. But when the government puts you in a tax bracket and says, we're taking it, that's taking away your choice. Now, somebody could argue, you could just choose to work that minimum wage job. You don't have to choose to work that six-figure job. Once again, that's not the American way. The American way is to succeed and to prosper. That's what we're all about. If you're jealous of that person making six figures, you can make that too. This is the land of opportunity, equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. And I believe the way our income tax system is set up, it is based off equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity. And that is not right. Just think about it like this. If the IRS got rid of everybody and everything that had to do with personal income tax, they'd still be around to collect taxes from businesses and things like that. They wouldn't go away completely. And accountants suddenly weren't doing personal income tax, but they'd still be valuable to businesses and things like that that would still require accounting. How much money would that save our government every year? And how few jobs would be lost in the private sector? So getting rid of income tax, in my opinion, doesn't hurt at all. It does nothing but help. But that's my opinion and mine alone. And I understand that some people out there, especially the ones that benefit off of government services, won't agree with me. Of course you won't, because you're not paying into it. I'm paying for you. You're very welcome, by the way. Thanks for listening.